So all those things. So let me see whether I'm live. Okay. Hello all. One sec. One sec. Okay. So hello. So let me share my screen now. Okay. So yeah, so till now we have done like we have also done Redux alone, and we have also done it with the React Redux app, and we just started with that. Everything is like earlier. Everything is like earlier only, but the only thing which is different is that, one sec. Let me do one more thing. Okay, only thing, because I want to show that code also, which is like Redux them. So we have to go into, so this is the my Redux code. Okay, so this code also I wanted to show, which we have done earlier. So because we're going to follow this code a lot. Okay, so that is there. And now one thing which was very difficult here was this thing, like the final thing, like what is known as here, like connect function was really tough here. So if you don't find it tough, but I found it tough. Okay, so what Redux team also know that this connect thing is a very tough. So what they have done actually, so good evening to all thinking. So what they have done actually in previous year only, they have added something like a custom hooks. They have added this connect was a bit difficult, so this custom hooks were added, so that is there. But again, the problem is that the custom hooks were added only previous year, so you should still know this way. Okay, so you should keep this into mind. But if you want to do something new, you should use that way. Use that way. Okay, use that way. This is a custom hook. So let us see a different way. The action reducer, everything will be same only. So we'll go here and I will click a new component known as hook tag container.js, and then here again it will be RFCE. But you soon see how easy it is. It doesn't have anything like here like connect and higher order function and all those things. It doesn't have. Okay, so let us do it. So first thing is that let us have here div is there. Okay, but here h2 nums of hook x, and a button also will be there. Button by hook tag. So button will also be there, and I will show this also. Hook container, I'll show this also. Save it. So this will also be shown. Okay, so that is there. So now how do I get the state? So here getting the state was like very complicated. Map state to props and all those things are there. But here it is very easy. There is a hook, like a custom hook with the React Redux function I've created. So that hook is known as the use selector. So what we are going to do here, const num of x, although you can name it anything. Use selector is a hook from React Redux. Then it will be state, I'm going to map the state, and state dot num of x. Num of x, because this is the how it is there. Num of x is this. So only this much you have to give. And this thing is something, this is a variable name. You can give it anything else also. Okay. So now I'll come here and do like this. Control V. Oh, what is this? Okay, so this I'll do and see 100 is coming. So this is working fine. And this is a global state. See, if I changing it, it is also changing. But let us see how to dispatch the action creator. And dispatch the action creator again was very tough here. Map dispatch to props and all those things were there. Okay, so the new way is like a very easy. So what happened here? I'll come here and do a const dispatch equal to use dispatch, like it's a hook from React Redux. Let's save it. Now here I will go and do a on click equal to dispatch and by like this. I have to do. So my and will come from here. So here also it's coming like that. But the thing is, there's so much complicated logic is there, like map dispatch to props, and the props will come and props dot this one will do. No, just a dispatch function, use dispatch, we can dispatches, and if I click it also here, so it will go to the action creator, and the same thing, action creator will go to the reducer will change the because this one will execute and it will change it. So okay, let's see, but let us see whether this is working, and this is working fine. So both of these things are working. Okay, so now the next thing which we are going to do is the combined reducer, and for combined reducer we have done it here also. Open the combined reducer thing. Okay, so the combined reducer thing. Okay, so this combined reducer thing we have done here also. The combined reducers, we have something like this root reducer and all, and we have this chicken. So let us do this here also, combined reducer. Okay, so for that what we need to do first, we are now going to have chicken also, so let us do that thing. So for that, first we are going to go here inside this Redux folder, like we have a X folder. Inside this Redux folder we'll have a chicken folder. Okay, so that I will have, and then here I will have a like this one sec, action user. Okay, chicken. Okay, so these three files we are going to have. Okay, 𝐏𝐚𝐫𝐴𝐵𝑒s.js, .js. Change.js. So these three things we're going to have, and now we're going to again follow the same thing which we have followed in the previous class. So first thing is that we'll have this thing const by egg, and it will be export. Because we have to always do export, so that will be there. Now the second thing will be we have to go to the action creator, and the action creator will have this function. Exact again the same kind of a thing. I don't want this thing, I'll cut it, and okay, and I will before I forget, it will be export here also. Okay, export here also, and then oh no, suggestion it is giving. Sometimes what happens, okay, I like suggestions. Okay, so also will type that much. It should be open. I've seen this thing. I know it's a weird thing. Okay, so that is there. I'll close it now. So now we'll go to this reducer. In the reducer also we need this thing. So let me take the import here, reducer, and reducer again. We'll have the same kind of a thing. Initial state, and this, and this is from the I think day two. Day two we have done this thing. Okay. Good evening, Kamlesh. Okay, so this we have done, and then now you'll see how the states are in different files, and then it will be combined reducer will work. Okay, export default chicken reducer. I'll save it. So this is all okay. Now how to use the both of these things. Here we have something known as a root reducer. So this root reducer is something which we are going to have here also. So I'll come here, do a copy, go to here, and inside the main Redux file, not inside the chicken and egg, inside the main Redux file, I'm going to have a root reducer.js, this file. Okay, and this file will be exactly like this. So we'll have a combined thing. Okay, so like this we're going to have. Now this combined reducer will be coming from this egg reducer, will come from egg reducer, and chicken reducer will come from chicken reducer, and then we'll also export it, because here everything we have to export default root reducer, export default root reducer. I'm done. So that is done. Now we have to use this root reducer in the store, not the egg reducer, because earlier we were using the egg reducer, similar to what we have here. We have not got till middleware. We'll go there also soon. So this store have this egg reducer. Instead of this, I will have the root reducer now. So root reducer will be imported. Okay, root reducer will be imported. So that is there. Now let us quickly, everything is done for the chicken. Okay, so now what we need to do? Okay, so we need to go back here, and we need to create one more file. Okay, so which will be hook. Let us create a hook on only, because hook on is very much easier. Hook chicken container.js, quite a big file name. Okay, so again RAFCE will be there. Let me copy paste this earlier code. So I don't want to do it again. So that is there. Do this thing. So state is like no, chickens. Chickens. Okay, so that is a dispatch by so like this I'll have, and I have to import some other things like this thing I have to import, and this will be imported correctly. So that is there, and use dispatch and all are showing correct. So but I have not added it here. So I'll come here and do a hook and container. Okay, so I'll save it. Now let us go back. But when you go back, you see the all the application is broken. So why the application is broken? Okay, so one sec. So the application is broken because if you remember, what happened, like when we change this to a root thing. Okay, when we change it to a root reducer in our okay, so okay, so yeah, so what is there, this root reducer is there. So the root reducer, when we use the root reducer, so what happens here, the state gets changed like this. I have shown it earlier, like the state get complicated. Instead of the state, it gets like double state. Okay, so that is the complication which starts there. We have seen this in the Redux, so that is happening here also, and I will show it much more easier, because next we are going to have that login middleware also. But let us know like what will happen. Now the state get changed, and the state get changed like this egg is there. Okay, so this egg I will take, and this is state dot egg dot nums of x. Okay, so it will be like this. I do it, so it is coming fine, and it is also going fine. And what will happen in the I have to fix this also. There is this map state to profs. I have to do this thing. Okay, now this is also fixed. Now let us quickly fix the chicken also, because what is happening now, the chicken not so what name I give here. If I give here cat, it will be cat dot something. If I give here bat, it will be bat dot something. Give something perfect here. So I have to go back, and I'm gonna close this thing. Go back here. Oh, I closed the main thing. Okay, so that is then here. Okay, so save it now. Click it, and it is coming fine. Okay, so that is there. So it is coming fine. So this is how it is working. Okay, so this is the updation we have to do. So that is there. Now we are going to see how to apply the middleware. So we apply the middleware here also, and we've seen logger middleware. So let us see how to do the logger middleware. And logger middleware much more easier here, because the import statements are actually easier. Else everything will be like this, but the logger middleware, the import statements will be much more easier. So let us go here, and where I'll go, I'll not go here. I will go to the not even the root reducer. I'll go. Okay, so too many things are there. So I will go to the actually where it is store. I have to go to the store, and store I have to do the same thing. Actually, the same thing. So better I copy it. So I'll copy it, put it here. The only thing we have to do here is to import the things. So apply middleware is from Redux, and oh, logger I have to import, logger I have to add it also. Okay, so I'll do, oh, and logger, I think the logger name is Redux logger. Okay, and PMI Redux logger Redux logger, npmi Redux logger, then only it will come. Okay, yeah, Redux npmi Redux logger is there. Now this logger I can import it, so I'll come here and go this npm logger from Redux logger is there. So this is coming fine, so I'll save it. And now let us see whether this is working fine or not. So I'll go here and I'll do an inspect, and I'll go to the console, and now I will do a hook. See, so nice thing is coming. Okay, so nice thing is coming. So nice thing is coming. And one more thing which I was telling earlier, that I will show you this thing. Instead of a normal object, what it become? It became a complicated object. It become a complicated object like this. It become complicated object. Inside this, the chicken is there. Okay, and the rest of the things are like this. Previous state, it will give the action. It will give the next state, it will give previous state, action, and the next state. So all the time it will be like this. Okay, so first I put the chicken, so chicken was done less. Then I put the egg, so action was by egg, and so the egg was reduced. Okay, so this is always like this. Okay, so it will be always like this. Okay, so that is good. Now the next thing is that, okay, so this is very good. This is all, this is very good, this Redux logger. But in React Redux project, we actually don't use Redux logger. We use something even better. That's the reason we don't use it. It's not like it is not good, but there is something as GUI, graphical user interface. If there is like something like graphical user interface, who will use this thing? This is like a Linux word. So graphical user interface is much more easier to use. Let us see what is the graphical user interface. And graphical user interface, that is a tool which is known as Redux Dev Tools, very popular tool. You can add it in Chrome, you can add it in Firefox, everywhere. So I'll open two things. Okay, so this is the how we add it. So you have to go to Chrome store, and you can like find it and add it in the Chrome. So I'm getting remove from the Chrome. You will get the add to Chrome, and this is a very important tool in all production projects. You're going to use this Redux Dev tool. That is for sure. All production projects. So it cannot happen like Redux is a very complicated thing. So when it comes to bigger project, it's a complicated thing, and you're going to know that thing. Okay, so it is like very much required. Okay, it's very much required. So now once I've added it, then there are 2-3 ways to use it, and those ways are actually given here. So I'm going to use one of them, one of those way, which is like 1.3 this way. In this I have to add something. Okay, so I will go here and I will add something like this is what they are telling. This Redux Dev tool. Then what we have to do, we have to use exactly this thing. Okay, so where we have to use, again we have to use in the store only. Now what I have to do is compose with dev tool. I have to copy, put it here, and it should be wrapping the apply middleware. Apply middleware. It should be. This is some of the boilerplate like configuration which you do. So I will just save it. Okay, I will just save it. Now let us see whether it is working. So how it will work? I'll come here in the Redux app, and here if I see, I will get this Redux. So this Redux is there. I have a lot of things, so I'll get it here. So I'll click on this Redux. Oh, and I'm getting it. So I'm getting it completely. This is the Redux Dev tool. Complete Redux Dev tool is showing me the current state. Raw also I can see, and here also I can see, and all the things I can see. This is my current state. So what is the benefit of it? When I click it, see something is coming here. So what is the state here is there. Okay, so and you can click it here also, and it will tell at what time it was done, initializing. So this is the init means initializing. It was like this. When the buy was done, it became like this. So this is actually a very important thing. So then I'll do something like this. Okay, then I'll do something like this, do one, do more, and do one, do more. So I've done a lot of things. So in bigger project, it happens like this. So you're doing it for a longer time. So what else is there? I can play a movie also in this thing. So the movie icon is there. I will tell it. Okay, so it is starting from 100, and it will telling okay how it is going. So these all things are very important in production project where you can also come back. So this is go back and see okay at this time what was the state and all those things. So this is a very important like visual tool. It is much more better than Redux logger. Okay, so that is there. Now the next thing which we are going to do, which is the last thing in Redux which we are going to do, after that we're going to do see a new pattern also. That is something which I'm going to show. Okay, so see, it is all working fine. Okay, so the let it be like, I will open this again. Let me make it a bit smaller. Okay, so now we need to add we are going to do API calls, and we have seen how do we do API calls in this async action. So we are going to do exactly the same way to do the API call. So let us do it. So we'll come again here, and inside this Redux I am going to have another folder known as user, because we're going to learn how to do the API call, which is API call is one of the very important thing to do it with Redux. Okay, because we generally do the API call and store the data at the central location. So user I will do, and then user types.js, user actions.js, and user reducer.js. So these three things I have done. So now what will happen? Okay, so let us get started. So user types, again the types I will have the same thing like this three things I'm going to have. So but again I have to add the export here. Export, all the exports will be added here. Export and export. So all these exports I will add. Then I have to go to the action creator, and the action creator will be like this same thing. Okay, this three things. We are going to soon have this fetch users also in this action creator, but right now let us have these things here. So I will come here and do these things, and again we will have the exports also here. Exports. So you'll see the concept exactly like the same what we have done in the Redux. That's one of the reason I created this project, so that it's very easy to understand. So let me add all these things, add all those things, like import, all these things are imports are done. So that is very important. All these exports are done. Now we will create the reducer. So reducer we have to create. This is again we'll have all these things, and then reducers will have this initial state. So I will have this initial state, then this reducer I'll have, and then it will be let us call it the user reducer, or else I have seen that it causes a lot of issues, like if I just export the reducer, but everywhere else also we are exporting something. Export default user reduce. Export default user reducer. I will save it. Export default user reducer is done. Now. Okay, now the main thing is that in the no, not here, we don't. Okay, come back here. In the root reducer I have to put a new thing which is like the user, and any name you can take, user and user reducer. So this is important. So this is something which you have done. Now okay, as here we have Axios and Thunk middleware. We have to import, we have to install that also. Okay, so I'm installing it in the integrated terminal. npm Axios and Redux Redux Thunk, npm Axios and Redux Thunk. So we have done this thing. Okay, so that is there. Now okay, Now in the store we have to add it. Here also we did it in the store. If you remember, in the store we added this apply middleware, but apply middleware is already there. So we just, what we need to do inside this, have to do a thunk, like this thunk I have to do, and I have import it. So thunk from Redux. So we're using logger and thunk both here. Here there are two different files, so we are not using the logger, but here both of them we are using here only. Okay, so this only we have to do. Then we'll have to go back, and in the actions we have to go back because we have to use this fetch users there. So I will have a import Axios from Axios. So I have to do this thing, import Axios from Axios, and then again we're going to copy from here, which you have done on day 2. So this export I will copy. Only the difference will be there. I have to export it. And one more difference will be there. I'm not going to map through the data. Data is like I think you all know. Okay, this is also wrong. It should be users, because I was showing what happens if it is wrong. So if I copy paste it, and like this is my JSON placeholder users. Actually, I'm not going to map through it because I'm going to pass the whole data, like which is an array of object in the users. So all the concepts are like that one. So that is there. Now everything is okay. Only the thing is that here the subscription thing was very easy, but as always the subscription thing won't be that easy here. So we'll go back here, and in the app.js first, okay, so let us create one more component known as user container.js, user container.js, RAFCE, and so this is done. So but this time I'm going to use the old way because that is not that old, like map state to props and all those things. Okay, so like this I contain, because we should not forget that thing. So that's the reason I'm going to do it. So I've saved it, and I have to import it also. I have to show it here also. User container. I do this, save it, and where is it? Okay, it is like the user content right now. It's showing like this, like it will have something. And on one more thing I will show. I will again open my Redux. Okay, so we will see something will come here also. So as I've told, I'm going to use this connect thing. So I will copy this thing because this is lot of code. Okay, connect higher order function, and then to use it, and like this I'll do. Then this connect, and connect will come React Redux, and this map state to props, and map dispatch to props I have to create. So I'll copy it, and I'll copy it. Then map state to props, and agnums is not there. Okay, so we will call it use data, which will be state dot user data, which is state dot user. Okay, so that is it, because if you go to the root reduce, it is this state dot user. Actually whatever is there, it will be like this, state dot user is there. So there what we were doing, like dot ag dot num suffix, we're going inside, but here I will just want to show it that state dot user, because you're going to see one thing. Okay, here, so this is very important stuff. Okay, so state dot user will contain this thing. So that is there, state dot user. Now the other thing is map dispatch to props. So map dispatch to props, we have to call this fetch users functions, like this okay, this where is a fetch user. So this fetch users functions we have to call. So this fetch users I will directly call and say it by the name, like the fetch users, and this will be fetch users, and I have to import it also. So I'll go here and do a import, and the fetch users will be called from the user action. That is okay. And we know that where is my ag action? Okay, so it comes as a props here, so when it comes as a props, it's better to we can destructure. It's not better, we can destructure it also. So I will destructure it. So this fetch user will go here, and this is the Redux. Oh, this is the Redux props. Okay, this is the Redux prop, and this is not a React props. Okay, it's fetch users, comma, and this user data will I'll do this user data also. So both of them have done. So now what will happen here? Here I will come. Okay, I don't want to have a button or something. Okay, I'll have the use effect. Use effect. Okay, I will have like this, and inside from there I will call this in the component did mount pay. I'll call, and then we'll have the fetch users. So fetch users is this fetch users I will call. So when I call this fetch users, it will go to this map dispatch props and dispatch this to fetch users. Okay, so that is done. Now what is going to do? If everything is okay, then actually I want to show something here, which is h2 user list, and then I will actually show the data here. So I will show the data here soon. Okay, but even before that, there are some things are there in the reducer. So loading is, I want to show some loading. Okay, so if because we know that when the loading, we can show some spinner. So what I'm going to do, user data dot loading, because it's an object. So I will do return. So this is how we use ternary operator also in React. Okay. Ternary operator, very good example of ternary operator. User data dot loading, then I will use this ternary operator. If it is like user data dot loading is true, which will be the case, this one, like when the request will go, then the loading will do, initially loading is false. Then I want to show h2, and it will do a loading dot dot dot, and then or I can show this thing. Okay, but I have I can have some error also, because we're tracking the error also. So what we need to do in the case of an error? So I'm going to have, having a if statement. Inside it there is another if statement. You can compare it like that. So I'll do a user data dot error. Then again I'm going to have this thing, and if the error is there, then h2 user data dot error, or finally this will be shown. And if everything is shown perfectly, then I can show the data, like and show the user data dot users data dot users is this thing. In this all the data will come. Okay, I will take through all of this map, and user p I will show, and user dot name, I'll show, save it, and see loading came momentarily. Okay, if you have seen it, like thing like loading came, I think, yeah, loading is always coming momentarily. Okay, and see, so there are actually two states, like this fetch users request is done. When this fetch users request is done, see the loading is true, and user is true, and this, so what is happening here? So when this component gets load, this fetch users will run here. Use effect component did mount, it will run, and then it will go here, and this fetch users will run. So fetch users, when it runs, as you know, this fetch users request is run first. Inside is the fetch users request is run first. When the fetch users request is run, it will go to this thing, and this will be done. Dot 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 state loading is true, so that is true, loading is true, and rest of the thing are like that. Then what happened again? Where is my action? This access dot get method is done, and it will be successful. Then the response dot data will contain that object. Response dot data will contain that. Actually this one will come now. Okay, so this one will happen, and see, this users is like this big array of object which is there, because I'm sending this to fetch user success. And again, it is the same thing which you have seen in the day 2 of the class. Okay, so it will go in the fetch user success. Okay, fetch user success, it will go, and success, it will have the action dot payload, and this actions dot payload will there. Now fetch users failure will not there, because there is no failure. So when this users is complete, means this is not true, I'm getting all the users, and I'm looping through it and showing it. But suppose we have an error, and again to see an error we have to do the same thing, like we have to break it. To do this, I will save it. loading and then request fail. The same thing like the request fail. Okay, so like this, because the error will come. So that is like this. So my state will be like this. So this is how benefit it is to use Redux dev tool also. Okay, so let me also make it like this. Okay, so it will show like this. So that is good. So actually Redux is done, but we're going to see a new pattern. A new pattern have emerged recently, and that pattern is like, okay, let me give the attendance also before this thing. Let me give the attendance before this. Okay, today is the final day attendance. You should fill all the remaining two attendances also. If you not fill, please fill it. Okay, so you have time, because we're going to give this certification by Sunday evening will give. So you have still have time. So okay, please fill this attendance. One sec, let me also see if someone is there on LinkedIn. So because people watch us on LinkedIn also. So one sec. Okay, so I'm giving it on LinkedIn also, final attendance, please fill it. And what I was telling, we're going to see a different pattern now, not the Redux pattern and all. Okay, so let me, I'll show it. Okay, I'll show it in this only. But okay, so I'll show it in this one only, but I have to comment out some of the things. That is okay, I will comment out these things. Anyways, you should watch the video. So I'll comment out this thing. So if I comment out this thing, there is no Redux in our project. Okay, so what I was telling, there is a new pattern is emerging, and that pattern is like a context API, which we have seen earlier in the React course. Context API along with use context API, which is used through the use context hook. Use context hook along with use reducer hook is used to implement the Redux pattern. Use reducer hook is exactly similar to Redux. We're going to see the new pattern, because Redux is a third-party tool, and React work want us to move away from the third-party tool and use everything from here. Context API, the problem is that we can only pass a string, but Redux is very powerful. We have a central state which we can change, like this central state which we're changing. This is not possible with context API, but context API along with another hook we are going to see, and that thing is known as use reducer. Both of them have their own problem. Use reducer we're going to see, and use context, and but when we combine them, we get a Redux like system. Redux like system, and in a lot of projects we are going to use this thing. Okay, so first thing which I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new component which will be known as 𝐶OUNTER1.js, counter1.js, and then it is RAFCE. Now what I'm going to do here is, so we are going to have a Redux. You'll see a lot like the not exactly like that, but if I open a reducer, you'll see this in reducer. This thing is there, like the state and all we are changing a bit like this, but the thing will be a bit different. So here what I'm going to do, const initial state equal to 0. So we're going to take a counter example. Okay, so then const reducer equal to state comma action, like this, and then switch action, like this. Switch action, we'll have to again the switch cases and all are there. Okay, switch cases and all are there, and then case increment, then return state plus 1. Then I'll have two more states here. I'll solve it later on. Case decrement state -1, and this one will be reset RESCT. It will be written return initial state. Okay, like this, return initial state, and then there will be a default will be return state state. So like this we are going to have, and I'm going to say p, and this will be done like this. Now this is the it is exactly like reducer. Now I can use it here inside, but right now it will not behave exactly completely as reducer and all. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here, const count, so the count comma dispatch, count comma dispatch equal to use reducer. Use reducer is a hook, is a custom hook. See, custom hook from React. Here I have to pass the reducer comma initial state, reducer comma initial state. I have to pass these two things. Okay, it is similar to use state hook. Like use state hook also we have array destructuring. So count is like there. Okay, count is there, and reducer and initial state I have to pass. So how do I use it here? So I will go here and do h1 is count, count is count. Then I will have a button. This one will be increment, and then this one will be on click equal to this and this patch and increment, dispatch and increment, and it should be like this same thing, and this will be decrement, and this will be reset. So and this will be de, and this will be reset. So reset. So this will be like this. Okay, but dispatch again something like the Redux. Okay, dispatch something like the Redux. So here I'll come and do a counter one. Save it. So now what is happening here? See, the initial count is like 0 and all. Increment is working fine. Decrement is working fine. Reset is working fine. Okay, but you should ask that I can do the same. I can do the same thing with use state hook also, and it will be much more easier. Yeah. So this is the problem with reducer. Like you can implement the same thing with use state also, and this dispatch actually dispatches this increment. It will come to the reducer again. Dispatch is like the action creator. I'm dispatching it to the reducer, dispatching here. So when I'm clicking here, it will going to dispatch here, and dispatch is a keyword. It will go to the reducer. So exactly like that, but everything is in one file, and in one file, that is the problem. The problem here is that, okay, it is in one file. Okay, so that is there, it is in one file, and I cannot, like I'm changing the state, but that state is in one file only, that cannot go to different files. So that is the problem here. Like the state, there is some state concept is there, it's a global state, but that state can be in one file only. And now the next problem which is there with the use context hook, like context API. You should go through our previous week like use context hook. Context hook that you can only pass the string, and we are going to combine both of them. How we are going to combine both of them, let us see. So let us create a new example in which, one sec, in which what we are going to do. Okay, okay, so we are going to see the example of user reducer with context. Okay, with reducer with use context. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to see a similar example which I've seen earlier when we were doing like previous week React Redux course. Okay, so now this is advanced one, previous week. So I'm going to have three files. Like we're going to have an example similar to which we have seen for context API, both in class base and both in hooks. Okay, so I'll have a grandparent.js similar to what we had earlier, RAFCE. Then I'm going to have a parent.js. Again, I will have a RAFCE. And then I will going to have a child.js RAFCE. Again the RAFCE so many times. Save, save, save. Okay, save. So that is there. Now what I'm going to have again app.js. I'll go and here instead of this counter one, I'll have grand parent. I'll have maybe I will delete this thing. Okay, grandparent I'm going to have. So if I have grandparent, so what will happen? This grandparent uh, will call the parent. So this is something similar what we have seen earlier. Grandparent will call the parent. This parent has been shown, and this parent will call the child. And in context API case, what we've seen, context API is actually a props replacement. So in context API, we've seen that if I want to pass some data from the grandparent to the child, one way is to pass from here to here, then here, from here to here, and from here to here, which is also known as a prop drilling problem. And to solve that prop drilling problem, we use the context API. But the context API, the problem is that I can only pass a string. So now I want to pass a global state like a Redux functionality I want to implement. So how do I implement the Redux functionality? So let us see. So to implement the Redux functionality, what we are going to do, first thing is that let us have a state. So a state, let us use this same thing only, counter one, because we're not using it. So I'm going to take this thing and come here in the app, and I'm going to put it here. So that is okay, but I'm going to use a like a context also. Okay, so okay, one more thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this thing and put it here. Okay, and okay, and now the other thing which I am going to do is like mm, context API. So let us use the context API also. So for that, export const count context. So any context name you can give anything. Count context equal to react dot create context. React dot create context. This is how we create the context. So we have done this thing. This thing we have done earlier also. So now what? Now this, okay, use reducer, it is giving error because I have not imported it. I'll import it. Now as in the provider concept is a bit similar to the product concept we have in context API also. So here also we have to wrap the main thing with the context API. So count context, and for knowing this thing you have to know what is context API. Please go back to previous week. Context count context, this one I am selecting, and context API have a provider and a consumer thing. Okay, so this grandparent will come inside, and then I'll have a count context dot provider and we want to pass a value. But till now what we used to do, we used to pass a string here, because we can pass that only string. But since we are using the use reducer, instead of string I'll pass the real data, which is like what, I'll pass this count and I'll pass this dispatch as props. Earlier we used to pass only strings. Right now we're not passing string, we can passing these two things, and this is like the amazing, this is what we are using this in combination. You'll see nowadays all production projects also use something. React is not defined. Okay, so see what is happening nowadays, the React is not there. React, save it. Okay, so like this it is coming. So now what I can do, I will directly use it in the child. Okay, directly use it in the child. So I'll go here in the child, and this is like a h1, which is child, and I want to use the value. I want to first show the value like that, the global value. So I will have a const count context equal to use context, that use context API, and we'll have a count context also we are going to have. Then here h1 is child, and I'm going to use this like this, count context will get me access to this thing, count context will get me access to this count context. Okay, count context, because that is what I'm calling with the use context of you can name it anything else also. Dot I can use this count because it's an object. So dot count. If I save it, you see the global, like the zero, which is the global. Oh, I closed that thing. Okay, no problem. So I will again have it, and I'm going to have this thing here now. But the difference is there. Like here, it is like not like the dispatch is, it is okay. But this is count context dot dispatch. Count context dot dispatch and count context dot dispatch. I will save it now. See, now I can increment it also and decrement it. This is something which was like impossible 1 year back in React. I'm from this state, like it is very deep down. I'm accessing a global state in the app.js or anywhere else also you can create. I'm accessing a global state there. I'm changing it. This was earlier not possible in React. This was only possible in Redux. And this amazing thing has been put with the help of the context hook and the use in React also. So this is like everything which is there, and we are like completed now with everything, like the advanced stuff. So go through these 3 days to see all this advanced stuff, and please go through it because this is all required with your React knowledge which you always give on the channel. So that's why this time I thought to give some advanced knowledge also. So okay, and this class will not happen every time, because every time we have this React class only, not this. And hope everyone have filled the attendance sheet. And thank you all for attending. Today was the last day. There won't be any more class of this thing because we have covered everything. I thought it will take 4 days, but it took only 3 days. Okay, thank